Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
All right, I just finished watching the vice presidential debate, the only vice presidential debate of this election cycle. My thoughts. This is interesting. I don't think, and I'm not saying this because I'm the politically agnostic guy, but I don't think anybody won anybody over to their side. I don't think that people who are in the middle like me, people who are, loosely aware of what's going on, I don't think we were like, oh, wow, Mike Pence, or oh, wow, Kamala. It's what we expected, right? It was not as entertaining as the presidential debate. They were more respectful of each other, which I appreciated, if I'm honest. They were more respectful. They were more cordial, more... you could tell these two don't completely hate each other. So, what do I think? Who do I think won a debate? Honestly, I think it's a draw. I really feel like it's a draw. And here's why. Everything I predicted to happen, happened, okay? Mike Pence kind of sounded tone deaf when he talked about police brutality, and he, stood by the grand jury decision in the Breonna Taylor thing. Don't know how that's the thing. When they got the grand jury decision being investigated as we speak, saying that some of the grand jurors came out and said there was stuff under false pretense in that. That happened. Google that for yourself, so you don't think I'm you know what I'm saying? Capping myself. So you Google that. He went after her voting record, which I thought was appropriate when it comes to her being this super, we're going to reform the judicial system and we're going to create more fair system and all this stuff. It's like, listen, she has a terrible record as a district attorney in California. If you don't believe it, look it up. If you really want to see the evidence, like firsthand, go look up her Breakfast Club interviews. And this is when it started being really interesting to me, because early on, she was kind of one of the more big faces of the primary, Democratic primary. And early on, she was on these outlets, and I started watching her, and I was like, wow, she's really cool. I like her. Is this the second Obama? And then you go, and I saw that Breakfast Club interview, and then I looked at the comments, and it was one of the few Breakfast Club videos where there was more thumbs down than thumbs up. And the comments just lit her up. And she just does not have a good record. I mean, her record is so bad that she dropped out of the Democratic primary before it even came to California, because she knew she was going to get blown out by Joe Biden. So that just should show you, right, how bad her record is. So he went after that. I thought that was appropriate. She had no real answer on who China was to America. Are they an ally? Are they an enemy? Are they a frenemy? She kind of tiptoed around the question. I thought that was very telling. I feel like she should have had a direct answer. I want to know what's your opposition. And Mike Pence made some really good points about Trump overturning NAFTA, which was a terrible trade agreement. And Obama actually promised to overturn that, I believe, when he was running in 2008. He didn't. I don't know if it was because he had a Republican Senate and House. Trump did a good job by overturning NAFTA. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you like him personally. He did a good job. And she didn't really have a response for how she viewed China. So I thought that was pretty telling. I thought Mike Pence avoiding the Roe v. Wade question initially, and then just kind of falling back to, well, I'm pro-life and I'm not ashamed to say I'm pro-life. I don't really know if that cemented his place. I think he said enough to maintain the evangelical vote, unlike Trump, who just flat out said that's not on the table. We're not trying to overturn Roe v. Wade in the last debate. Mike Pence just said, well, I'm pro-life and I'm not opposed to being pro-life. He kind of backed off that question. He also did push back and say late-term abortion, which if she was really against late-term abortion, that would have been her a chance to clarify that she is a person of faith, which was oddly enough she claimed to be. If you're a person of faith, there's your chance to say, well, I don't think abortions should be illegal. They should just be unnecessary, and we're going to create policies to make them unnecessary. And I'm not for late-term abortion. She didn't do that. So that to me tells me that you're not just pro-choice. You're kind of cool with late-term abortions, which is by and large just barbaric. Like, listen, some people could be pro-choice. They could say it's legally necessary. We should make it illegal. We should create policies to, make it unnecessary. But if you are for late term, and as far as I know, it's a mute issue. As far as I know, because there was the 2003 George Bush passed protection against late term abortion, and I think it's only legal in a few states, New York being one of them. So that was kind of interesting. So who do I think won? Listen, I think this entire thing was a big draw, in my opinion. I don't think anybody won anybody to their side. She did not come off extremely likable to me. She was firm. I thought she was firm. And he didn't come off very likable either. I mean, he kind of came off like who he is, which is a, very conservative, kind of out of touch dude, which will speak well to his base. I think the real winner of this debate was The Fly. Yes, that's right, The Fly. The Fly won this debate. My man's pulled up on Mike Pence's head and flew over there. Not flew over. It stood there. It just kind of hung out there, and she didn't say anything about it. Had she said something about The Fly, oh my gosh, that would have been killer. Had she said something about The Fly, that would have been epic. But she didn't say anything about The Fly, which I thought that was the alley-oop. I don't know how close they were, right? But that fly was amazing, and I don't know. I would have cracked a joke about that fly, personally. That would have been hilarious. I think that was an easy layup for her to kind of say something, kind of catty, kind of, hot momish, like a little jab, but kind of keep it light. And she didn't say anything. I think it's maybe because they weren't so close to each other. They were pretty far away. And so I don't know what that was. The whole thing was bizarre, right? The whole thing was bizarre. Mike Pence didn't win me over. Outside of being pro-life, didn't really win me over. She didn't really win me over. I thought her good arguments was about how reckless they were with COVID, the unemployment numbers, which is kind of unfair because there is COVID, right? So bad job numbers. Well, yeah, it's because there's a freaking pandemic. He could have, I think, answered better when it comes to some of the social issues, the George Floyd thing, saying justice will be served. We're not sure about that. That officer could get off, right? The way qualified immunity works, he could get off and not be held personally liable. So I think he could have answered that much better, in my opinion. I think that was kind of a whack answer. She was Kamala. Like, this was her in the Democratic debates. She's not great at debates, guys. She's not great at debates. Go watch the Tulsi Gabbard footage where she gets destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard. That's kind of what made her drop out as a primary. And I just don't like seeing people that just feel like they're being kind of propped up to be the next president. And that's really what we saw, is we saw the potential next two faces and leaders of the Democratic Party and of the Republican Party, and I don't like either one of these folks, like I've said before. I don't think either one of us put us in a bad situation. What I think is going to happen is, based on the polls, based on all the things stacked against Trump, based on just kind of how tone deaf they seem to where the rest of the country is, my prediction is, and I've predicted this before, we'll see how this ages. I think Trump loses the election. He gets his judge in. Republican and Senate maintain the House and the Senate. And I think Biden may or may not make it through his first 4 years. He's not going to run again. Kamala runs in 2024, and the Republicans muster up a better option to go against Kamala in 2024, maybe Jocko, maybe The Rock, maybe, how crazy would it be if The Rock flips and jumps teams and goes over and becomes a Republican? Maybe Kanye, maybe to level out Kanye's medication, he kind of becomes a bit more mature. He'll be 45 then, and he runs as a Republican. I predict that's what's going to happen. I don't see them winning this election. Personally, I could be wrong. We'll see how this ages, but I do see the conservative judge being pushed through, which I do believe that's Trump's right. Like, the whole thing is crazy that they let the American people decide Abraham Lincoln did it 150 years ago. Like, no, you guys lost in 2016. There were judge seats up, and he should get to push his judge through. And I'm okay with the primarily conservative Supreme Court and a conservative House and Senate and a Democratic president and vice president, because I feel like at least that balances the scales, and we're not going to get anything too crazy outside of maybe my taxes going up a bit. Those are my predictions. I want to know what you guys think. Do like this video and hit the subscribe button. But yes, I could definitely see Kamala running in 2024 because she would have been a vice president for 4 years now. I don't see an 82-year-old Biden running again. I just don't see that happening. And I think at that point, the Republican Party can then reassess themselves, become the party of the American dream again, become the party of Reagan and Bush. I could see that happening. Right now, they got the party of Nixon vibes going right now. They got a very divisive tone. And it sucks because I like some Republican ideas. I do, if I'm going to keep it honest with you guys. I like the idea of small government, fiscal conservatism. I like some of those ideas. I don't like just how tone deaf they are on social issues. And I think the Democrats need a good butt whooping. They got that with Hillary, and you would have think that they would have adjusted, but this isn't going to be a campaign of who wins or loses. This is going to be a campaign of who wins. This is going to be a campaign of who loses. Who does the public hate more? Who does the public not enjoy more? And unfortunately, depending on where you fall, I think it's going to be Trump. I think people don't like Trump. I think he's down double digits in all the polls. Now, the polls can be wrong, because they were wrong, but it's definitely party of Nixon vibes. People don't like Trump. Trump's going to get voted out. That is my prediction. What do you guys think?
King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan.